Shalom to all our viewers. This week's program is being recorded only a few hours after a terrible terror incident occurred in Jerusalem. We decided that despite the seriousness of the current events, it is still important to air this week's Israeli Salad as planned. Life in Israel must continue and will continue. We'll begin in just a moment. Terror in Israel is absolutely one of the worst expressions of anti-Semitism. Throughout the world, anti-Semitism is felt in different situations and different levels. Mark Kaplan spoke with Professor Dina Porat, head of the Institute for the Study of Anti-Semitism and Racism in Tel Aviv University, and he brings us this report on anti-Semitism today, at the end of a week which was dedicated around the world to the battle against anti-Semitism.
Throughout the world, a week of awareness about anti-Semitism is being observed. In the past few years, there has been a severe increase in anti-Semitism, and people observing the problem have noticed some frightening trends in its severity.
First, the target were cemeteries. Then the target changed, and synagogues, and especially the burning of synagogues. And now, which is indeed a bit frightening, the target is the person.
Many say the level of anti-Semitism taking place today is comparable to the anti-Semitism in Europe in the 1930s.
Following the Holocaust, Jews and non-Jews have drawn some lessons. Jewish individuals and organizations are much more on the alert, monitoring, analyzing, acting, appealing to non-Jewish authorities. There was nothing of the kind in the 30s.
One question the world is facing regarding anti-Semitism is how to differentiate between anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism.
Every evil under earth is put on Israel with regard and not with regard to its policy. Today's anti-Semitism is different in a number of aspects from the classical one. First of all, because the scene of activity has moved from the Christian European world and from the extreme right, which was in the center of anti-Semitic activities during former decades, to the Muslim and Arab world. It is using, but a political use, anti-Semitic classical motives. Here is the link, but they are using it, these old motives, today politically. In Syria, depicting a brutal murder of a boy whose blood is taken in order to bake matzahs for Pesach. These are not Muslim motives, these are Christian motives, but they are used in the Muslim world in order to promote anti-Semitism. The Jewish people is now again being depicted as a source of evil. Because Theodorakis, he said first, the Jews are the source of all evil. Then he said, yes, but I meant Sharon's policy. So you see here, if you meant Sharon's policy, why didn't you say Sharon's policy? And if you had a case in mind, criticism is criticizing a point in time, a certain case at a certain time, a certain place, not generalizing.
More than half a century after the Holocaust, Jewish communities around the world are still trying to find the solution for fighting anti-Semitism.
There are, of course, you can promote more legislation, more enforcement. When we're speaking about violence against the atmosphere, I think we should use the media as we have not done before. Perhaps Jewish stations or another effort media-wise, education-wise, that would bring our voice.
So let's see how you could help Israel's PR by helping us reach as many people as possible. Like I mentioned before, if you have any idea how to help us spread out the magnificence of the land and the people of Israel, send us your ideas to the Israeli Salad email. That's yoni@israelnn.com. Kosher cuisine is one of the fastest growing culinary markets in the world, and kosher quality standards are constantly rising. So who will train the kosher chefs? The answer is Yochanan Lambiasi and his Kosher Culinary Academy in Jerusalem. I met Chef Yochanan Lambiasi in the kitchen of the Jerusalem Holy Land Hotel in the middle of an interactive cooking lesson.
Well, we're having a lovely lesson in how to make stocks and how to make sauces. As you can see, everybody's running around trying to find their places. We've got Shlomo over there, who's going to be teaching the guys how to make mayonnaise. We've got over here Gary's going to be teaching guys how to do pastry dishes, and they're going to be learning a whole array of exciting things today.
For Yochanan, this academy is a dream come true.
And this is basically my dream, to run the world's first kosher culinary cooking school under complete halachic auspices. I was born in London, and I went to a hotel school in London called Westminster.
Kosher?
Far from it. Far from it.
In the course, which is all in English, students from Israel and abroad learn a variety of topics.
Basic preparation of your food that you're going to make, to stocks, to making big, humongous banquets and buffets and meals and whatever there is to make.
Although in most cases the chefs don't serve the food, Lambiasi's students learn how to be professional waiters as well.
If you're a chef only knowing how to cook and you're not getting the food presented to the people that are going to be eating it in a proper fashion, then it won't taste as good. One of the main things that we're learning is how to teach the rest of your staff how to do the things correctly, so that not only will the food be good, but also the service will be good.
To complete the education of kosher chefs, the students learn how to cook according to the Jewish laws of kosher food, kashrut.
In the morning, there is a 2-hour lecture on Torah studies. They basically are learning the whole ideas of kashrus, learning about all the problems that happen in the kitchen. Obviously, you can see that it's a hustle and bustle over here. Things do happen the whole time. Problems do happen the whole time.
The course teaches the participants to be not only professional chefs, but also professional kosher supervisors, mashgichim.
I'm here to become a professional chef, not only physically, also spiritually.
You have inside yourself, and I have inside myself, a very special thing, and that's called a Jewish soul. You have to be able to give good kosher food to keep a good kosher soul. You understand what I mean? It's all in the neshama, and if the neshama's working well, then your whole life can reach a higher level.
The students of the Kosher Culinary Academy have at least one thing in common.
They love food. They love to eat. I mean, look at these swelling bellies over here. Look at these robust cheeks. Everybody loves food.
I love cooking. It's one of my passions, and it's just, I'd love to be a chef, do that as a living, something I enjoy.
I've been interested in cooking since I'm about 5, and this is the first time I've heard of a Glatt Kosher school, so that's why I came.
As opposed to going to Johnson & Wales and learning with pork and everything, I got all the good qualities here.
The holidays in Israel, for me, I didn't come unless I had to. I came here and I wasn't sure whether I'd enjoy it, but so far it's been great. There's much more variety of kosher food here than there is in England.
Yochanan and his students know that there will always be plenty of business, because there's a lot of food involved in many Jewish rituals and ceremonies.
Food is something that is part of the Jewish people. It brings people together.
If you have good, amazing kosher food, it will just elevate your soul, definitely.
When looking for mentors, Lambiasi looks up to biblical characters like the matriarch Sarah and the patriarch Yaakov, and he gets inspiration.
We see in the Torah that Sarah made matzahs. She made lamb tongue with mustard sauce. Then we see that we have Yaakov made for Esav lentil stew. I mean, these guys were budding gourmets. I mean, come on. So the whole thing is that we are just enlivened and enriched through our Jewish lives with food.
Chef Yochanan Lambiasi wants to see his academy grow.
We are also looking to build the world's first kosher mahadrin guild, as it were. We're going to have courses for women. We're going to have courses for men. We're going to have courses for kids. We're going to do health food. We're going to do fusion cookery. We're going to be doing everything that's up to date now in the world.
Okay, that's all for now, but we'll be back here when Yochanan explains to us how to make an Israeli salad.
You are watching Israel National News TV.
The annual Arutz Sheva Cantorial concert is a well-known event for fans of this genre of music. Gabi Newman and Shlomo Blass attended the 6th annual concert and brought us a taste of this musical and spiritual experience.
This music is called the language of emotion. Through the words of prayer that we bring to these concerts, through these words that come with emotion, people understand the meaning of the words and the prayers, and that's the most important thing.
More than 1,300 people from throughout the country came to Arutz Sheva's 6th annual Chazanut concert. Chazanut is the Hebrew word for Jewish cantorial singing. Most of the audience has attended the previous Chazanut concerts, and they anxiously await the event every year, in which world-known cantors perform for nearly 4 hours. So what exactly is Chazanut?
It's actually a Jewish liturgic music, as we call it Chazunes, and I think we are all involved into this kind of music because that's prayers actually that we say in shul. I would say the Chazunes is actually more to the classical field, which is originated from Europe, Eastern Europe, Poland, Warsaw, and it's more connected to the classical music.
This music is music from the heart. It's not just any music that's sung with a tune. It's put out in a way where anybody can appreciate it. Everybody should appreciate it. The words, the tune. It's just an all-in-all beautiful performance.
I think I enjoyed it myself. Even I was rather busy and concentrated on the stage to follow all the cantors.
Many types of people were in the audience. Chazanut is not only for religious grown-ups.
From my experience, I see that this music touches any Jew.
Don't you have to be like over 50 to like this music?
Anybody can appreciate tefillos that come from the heart and are sung beautifully. It doesn't have to be at a certain age, but I definitely did bring down the average age here tonight by about 30 years.
Is this music only for religious people?
No, I think it is also for people that have a connection with the tradition.
Once I performed before people who didn't know what I was singing about. Immigrants from Russia. They stood and cried. I asked one of them, "Why are you crying?" He said, "I can feel that you're talking to God."
And if you're interested in a cantorial career, here's a few tips from the pros.
If he wants to succeed as a cantor and know when to cry and when to be happy, he must understand the real meaning of the words of the prayers. A cantor once came over to the rabbi from Barditchuv and said, "What should I do? Every time I pray before the stand, I get hoarse." So the rabbi answered him, "Try to pray before God and not before the stand. That's the way to lead the prayer. You'll never get hoarse."
Before we go over to Rabbi Samson, get your pen and paper ready, because we're going back to Chef Lambiasi for a quick recipe. For no special reason, I decided to ask Yochanan to show us how to make an Israeli salad.
If he wants to know how to make an Israeli salad, 2 tomatoes and 1 cucumber, okay? And we're going to go into the kitchen and I'm going to show you how to make an Israeli salad. 2 good knives. This is a 10-inch knife, this is a 7-inch knife. What is an Israeli salad? It means that everything has to be very, very well cut. Then I take my big knife and I slice very thin. We put them onto the plate, we toss them up together and serve with a little bit of with a garnish. I always recommend to watch Israeli salad while you're making Israeli salad.
A few weeks ago, we visited the Meteorology Center in Beit Dagan. We met a professional meteorologist who told us about weather in Israel. But how about the world of Torah? Rabbi Samson is with us now. Rabbi Samson, how is meteorology in Israel seen through the eyes of Torah?
All right, I'll tell you. It's very interesting. The Torah tells us that there's an essential difference between the land of Israel and Egypt. And it says that in the land of Egypt, everybody has water from the Nile, and it's enough to dig some kind of a tunnel from the Nile with your foot, and you'll have water. But in Israel, we have to look up to the heavens for our source of sustenance. And God specifically takes us out of Egypt and brings us into the Holy Land, to a land where we will have to pray for our basic sustenance, in order to forge an inherent union between the Jewish people and God. And that no water, no life, and as a result, for our basic existence, we have to pray for rain. It's something that someone who lives in Canada really can't feel, and it's very difficult to experience the life necessity of rain for existence here in Israel.
So rain has a spiritual meaning?
Rain is basically equivocated with sustenance, and it's the source of all growth, of all food, of all life. And that when we see God giving us rain in Israel, it means that God is giving us life. And it's interesting that we mention the idea of rain in the blessing of Shmon Esrei that regards the resuscitation of the dead. And it's talking about a very deep esoteric concept that has to do with the crux of life, and that rain in Israel and God giving us life are associated very heavily together.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Samson.
The Weekly Insight is brought to you in cooperation with Machon Meir, the largest Zionist institute in Israel, bringing people closer to Judaism.
It's time to wrap up the program. Hope we all have a quiet and pleasant week. We won't leave without letting you enjoy some more tunes from the Chazanut concert. So, Shabbat Shalom and Shavua Tov to everyone. Join us again next week for another edition of Israeli Salad.
Israel.